Alabama's recruiting's going pretty doggone well, y'all.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, HSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson, that's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein, that's him. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. We'll talk about 5 Hour Energy in just a little bit. I want to thank you every day for being every day because you help make Locked On the number one sports podcast network there is, and we appreciate you guys so very much. Jimmy, so obviously we're going to talk about Aiden Holloway and what it means for Alabama in this tournament and a potential return, which is weird if it happens. But I think we'll start with recruiting because there's been some movement here. There's been a Fong bomb for one Mitchell Turner, who is a defensive lineman out of Mississippi. I'm not sure we're lob locking him just yet. That's what we call our crystal balls and Fong bombs. But the number one recruit in Mississippi, the number 40 recruit overall in the Rivals composite. We are very excited about this cat. It would be great to get another big-time defensive lineman from Mississippi. We've done pretty well with him here very recently. And it's looking better and better for the Louisville, Mississippi standout.
Yes, I'm hesitant to roll out the lob block, but I'm close. I mean, I definitely project him to be a part of the class. I'm just not exactly sure how adamant I am about it yet. He's just so highly recruited. This is a guy when Alabama offered him, no one had offered him. He was a 0-star, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. I don't know, basically a no-star. Alabama offered him several months ago. Now he's one of the top 50 or 60 prospects in the U.S. I mean, per Rivals. So this is an elite blue chip guy with a lot of offers. It's tough to get kids out of Mississippi that Ole Miss and Mississippi State badly want. But yeah, I'm an inch away from a lob block here. And by the way, we already did that with AJ Pauli from Mobile, the McGill guy. And by the way, I project him to be a defensive tackle. Mitchell Turner is going to be a defensive tackle. These are the two interior guys. They may be the only two interior guys Alabama adds in this class, other than potentially late in the cycle adding a depth guy or two. But I would say that insofar as interior tackles, you might be done after Mitchell Turner and AJ Pauli, and that would be fine. That would be a home run to me.
Then there was another update, a guy that, frankly, I haven't heard much about with Alabama, but I thought it was interesting. Alabama had a visit from Ismael, I assume, call me Ismael, Camara.
Mm-hmm. He's
Ismael and then Camara. I would assume that's
interior offensive lineman from Texas. I think the Houston area. I think.
So they describe him as freaky.
Yep,
that's how they describe him. He really liked Adrian Clem, the new offensive line coach, and he really liked Caden Proctor. In fact, he said he loved watching Caden Proctor and emulating him. So he's ranked as number 4 interior lineman in this class, number 34 prospect overall. So really on the verge of being a 5-star when it comes to Rivals. So again, Alabama holding the lead. They're a long way to go, but it seems like Alabama's in the lead here with this particular offensive lineman.
Yeah, I'm not anywhere close to a lob block here. It's just too very highly. How rare is it, by the way, that you see a guard referred to as a freaky prospect?
Yeah,
that may be a first. But he's clearly special. I just said it's tough to get kids out of Mississippi. It's tough to get kids out of Texas now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if everyone listening is aware, but they spend in College Station and Austin and Lubbock. It's hard to get a kid out of there. So I'm nowhere near a lob block here. I think it's encouraging that Alabama leads. Is that a Wilt Fong thing? I can't remember. Spiegelman?
It is. It's a Wilt Fong thing, and he did not Fong bomb it.
Yeah, so I think there you go. I mean, that's kind of so Wilt Fong from Rivals is saying, hey, the Alabama's in the lead. Never dispute that. Will Fong knows his stuff. Friend of the show. He's been on the show. Yeah,
Great American.
If there's no Fong bomb, there's going to be no lob block, especially when it comes to that one.
Yeah, we will. I would say it's going to be rare that we lob block without a Fong bomb. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, you'd be kind of going out on a limb. Fong's pretty quick to go with the bomb. That's why he doesn't bat at that. Like, for instance, Tim Watts and Bone over there at BOL. I don't know that they're batting 1,000, but it's close to it. They're also, of course, they want to be right. That means they're rarely going to be early because they want to be right. Not saying that Will Fong doesn't want to be right, but his bombs will go off a little quick. So he's not batting 1,000.
Has he tried Ruge yet? If your bombs go off quick,
if he listens to the show.
All right. One other recruiting nugget, Trey Martin, who we've talked about from Franklin Parish High School in Winsboro, Louisiana, home of
Melvin Cheatham.
Correct.
And Booger McFarland. On a lesser note.
I'm more Melvin Cheatham-y.
I'm a Melvin guy. It'd be great to have him on the show.
Oh, well, you know what? I met him, I don't know, maybe a year ago at a Service First thing. I think he lives in Texas and he's in real estate, if memory serves.
That's awesome.
I mean, I was awestruck. Now, some people may be, and apparently he's very successful. Other people may be awestruck at his business acumen. I'm still awestruck at Melvin Cheatham was on a team that beat Shaquille O'Neal, Stanley Roberts, Chris Jackson, a.k.a. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Vernell Singleton, and Maurice Williamson. I can name LSU starting 5 from that year because they were so freaky good. And they didn't even make a Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, there's no way to accumulate a roster like that in modern times. You can't because
you know how much it would cost to have Shaquille O'Neal or Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf or Chris Jackson on your basketball team now?
To say nothing of, I mean, they would both cost as much or more than the DeBansa kid at BYU.
Oh, God, yeah.
And then you've sprinkled in highly priced supporting cast guys that would have been highly priced. It's like the Fab Five, which I can still name, of course. I think a lot of people do that. Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Howard, Jimmy King, and Ray Jackson. You couldn't. Jimmy King and Ray Jackson are cost prohibitive, to say nothing of the other 3. You just can't do it anymore. It's just impossible. The Saban classes in football, the same way. You pick out the best 3 or 4 Saban classes, you can't afford them. It's impossible. And I'm talking to Texas Tech here. I ain't talking about Alabama can't. Texas Tech can't.
So back to Trey Martin, at 4-star running back. He will visit on March 28th. And Sam Spiegelman made an official prediction for him. I don't know if it's a, Spiegelman says.
I got a lot to say about Trey Martin. I've been studying up on him because I'm an inch away from a lob block there on Trey Martin.
I think he'll commit on that weekend.
Very good possibility. I wonder if LSU is going to ratchet. He does have an official, I think, scheduled for LSU. That's my concern, just because it's the in-state school. But this is why I think Alabama loves Trey Martin. When I watched the tape and then I did some digging, I think what's considered his greatest trait, like the best trait of all, he catches the heck out of the ball. He's a fantastic receiver from the running back position. And if you want to get Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb excited about a running back, show them a running back that can catch the ball. We always have to remember, and I know it sort of flies in the face of traditional Alabama fandom, but while Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb are running the offense at Alabama, it's going to be pass happy. That's what they want. That's what they want. And before you get upset, that's what they were hired to do. This is what they've done everywhere they've ever been. And asking him to change his spots isn't a smart idea. It's not, hey, you need to fit us. No, we need to fit him while he's here. They throw the ball. So even when you're talking about the running back position, which we know is kind of sacred around Alabama parts, the running backs that catch the ball, that run pass routes, and you can use them as a receiver, they're gonna love them. They're a lot more Jahmyr Gibbs than Derrick Henry. I mean, and DeBoer and Grubb.
No, I'm with you on that. So we're going to talk a little duos in college football and college basketball, and what CBS thinks about coaching duos. But at first, I want to tell you about Robin Hood. Love Robinhood. I actually do have Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. Always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by the people. You are no longer just a spectator play-by-play. You decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Whew. Sometimes it's tough for me to get through some of these, as y'all can tell. Wayfair. Yeah, I love Wayfair. Appreciate Wayfair. Spring is the perfect time to refresh your space and make your home better for you. Whether it's updating a room, adding some outdoor furniture, or finally organizing that cluttered corner, it's a great chance to bring a fresh look into your home. That's where Wayfair comes in. From furniture and decor to organization solutions and outdoor essentials, Wayfair makes it easy to find pieces that match your style and your budget. What I like about shopping on Wayfair is how simple the process is. You can filter by style, size, and price, so you can find exactly what you want for your space. Find furniture, decor, and essentials that fit your unique style and budget. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home, every Jimmy style guarantee. Okay, so CBS came out with an interesting article, and I would have probably even ranked Alabama higher. But they came up with coaching duos. And we're going to talk about Aiden Holloway in the third segment, so y'all hang tight. But I thought I'd put in something positive here. They have, for the coaching duos, number 10, Texas Tech's Grant McCaslin and Joey McGuire. Number 9, Louisville's Pat Kelsey and Jeff Brom. Feels like a stretch. Feels like they were running out of teams to rank. Number 8 is Jai Lucas and Mario Cristobal of Miami. Want to see a little more out of Jai Lucas. Number 7 is Mark Byington and Clark Lee, and I could easily make a case that's low.
Fair. That's the first one I got to. I'm like, fair.
All right, number 6 is Todd Golden and John Summerall, and I feel like Todd Golden's pulling that train.
Yeah, Summerall's. I don't think what Summerall did at Tulane should count for a list of this prestige.
Correct. And, you know, sometimes you don't need a top 10. Maybe they needed a top 5 because it feels like some of these are a stretch. But number 5 is Bill Self and Lance Leipold from Kansas. Again, it feels like Bill Self's really carrying
Lance Leipold hadn't done enough at Kansas. Now, I agree. That was a great hire, and I thought he was going to be great, and he may still prove to be great. And gosh knows, that is a tough job. You know, in terms of NIL football at Kansas, that's got to be really rough. But he hasn't done enough at Kansas to justify that. Bill Self, sure.
Number 7 is Dusty May and Kyle Whittingham at Michigan. And I think I could make the case that's low because if you take, you know, what did they call them? Lob City. Back when he took Florida, was it Florida Atlantic or Florida International?
He was FAU.
No, he was Florida FAU. Coast. He took him to the Sweet 16. That's what it was, right?
I think it was FAU. He's a FAU guy.
Or maybe FAU.
Yeah, he's a FAU guy. The Gulf Coast guy ended up at Southern Cal, I think.
That's right.
And did left there. I think he's
that's right. He's FAU. So Dusty May and Kyle Whittingham, Michigan. I could make the case that's probably a little low. I might have put them. Number 3 is Oats and DeBoer. And here's why I think that's low. Because so they've got number 2, Kelvin Sampson and Willie Fritz, and number 1, John Shire and Manny Diaz. You're saying, I mean, like, okay, I'm going to give you Kelvin Sampson above Nate Oates. I'm going to give you John Shire above Nate Oates. I'm going to give those to you. That's I'm not in debate. But I think DeBoer is so far ahead of Fritz and Manny Diaz. Manny Diaz was fired as a coach.
I think that whole ranking is ridiculous, and I agree. I never would have guessed that Oats and DeBoer should be one. I'm not sure it should be one. I've never given it much thought until this segment. But Oats and DeBoer are better than anyone on that list as a duo because Oats is a slam dunk top 10 coach in this sport right now. There is no question he's top 10. DeBoer, I will grant you top 15. He probably should be high. He probably should be top 10. I think it's fair to say top 10 for sure. But I'm just going to say, just for purposes of trying to be conservative and not homering out, okay, top 15. But who else has a top 10 coach in one sport and top 15 in the other? I mean, is Clark Lee really top 15 college football coach? Maybe. I'd just get Byington. Certainly would be. I'm just saying, I'm not knocked out by that list. Dusty May and Winningham, that was pretty good.
Dusty May and Winningham. And look, I would like to see Vandy post their generational quarterback and see how it goes.
Yeah.
If they don't have Diego Pavia, how does he do?
Yeah, let's see what Clark Lee looks like with it. And I'm going to say for right now, in terms of credit for Vanderbilt's, and how much credit are we saying for the 6-6 year? I mean, 2 years ago, you're getting a lot of credit for that because Vanderbilt's done 6-6 before. That's not breaking a lot of ground. The ground was broke last year. I mean, that's the best Vanderbilt team ever. Well, how much of that was Pavia? How much of it was Clark Lee? I mean, to me, Pavia is the majority of that. Now, then he goes and he lands a 5-star in Jared Curtis.
Yeah,
and that's impressive. And he certainly raised the pro. So I'm impressed by Clark Lee. But top 10, no. Top 15 is a stretch to me. Because now 3 years from now, we might be saying, well, Clark Lee's definitely top 10. Maybe, but I'm not ready to.
I mean, if you were going to do the list the way they're doing it, I think the funny thing would be when Avery Johnson was there with Nick Saban, you would, based on the way they're doing this list, they're weighing this list, you would have to say that was the best duo in the country. And we all know that wasn't the best duo in the country.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They're weighing John Shire. By the way, John Shire hadn't won a national championship.
You know who's not on the list? Who's not on the list who should be is Kirby and Mike White. I mean, Kirby is the number one coach.
Very fair.
He's number one in college football. No worse than number two. And while I wouldn't put Mike White, probably not even in the top 15, I think when you got the number one coach in another sport and a top 20 guy or a top 25 guy in the other sport, that's better than a lot of that list, in my opinion.
Or even, I mean, I could make the case for Tennessee to have a duo on there. I could make the case. Yes. I think their case is equally as good as their number one in Duke, because number one, John Shire hadn't won, and John Shire's been to the Final Four,
and he could win it this year. Shire's awesome. He's top 5-ish to me.
But Manny Diaz
has been fired.
Has he been fired twice or just once?
He was fired at Miami. I want to say he was fired somewhere else. But I remember being shocked that Duke hired him, and I'm shocked that it's going as well as it is for Manny Diaz at Duke. I've been impressed, shocked, because he obviously didn't knock anyone's socks off, with the Hurricanes.
And he's getting a lot of credit for winning a league with 5 losses.
That's an excellent point.
I mean, he lost every non-conference game, and he's getting a lot of credit for winning a terrible league with 5. Now,
lost 5 games with a transcendent quarterback.
Yeah. So here's the other thing. CBS put out another article, and I love this time of year because these articles that get kind of wonky, I love discussing them. But it is an interesting topic. The scariest places for various games this year. Now, so for instance, they have number 10 Notre Dame Stadium, Miami at Notre Dame. Number 9 is Rice-Eccles, BYU at Utah. Number 8 is Memorial Stadium, Miami at Clemson. I mean, number 7 is Bryant-Denny, Georgia at Bama. That's your number 7? Let me tell you something. I was at the last Bama-Georgia game in Bryant-Denny. That place was a madhouse.
Yeah, and I'll borrow this from Josh Pate, who's a neutral national observer. I think Josh Pate, I'm paraphrasing his opinion about this, about the toughest places to play. He's like, you rarely see Bryant-Denny listed very high on those places, he said, which is kind of crazy considering Alabama's level of success and how good they've been over 20 years there. He said, but though you don't see Bryant-Denny on that list, he said, when Alabama plays a monster game, he goes, and there could only be one or 2 a year at the most. So when Alabama plays a monster game where they're either an underdog or favored by a field goal or less, so it's not a certainty who's gonna come out on top. He said that may be the best atmosphere in college football. At Bryant-Denny in a monster game. And I'll grant those that want, well, you play there 7-8 times, you got to take it all into account. That's probably why Bryant-Denny doesn't, because we do have a lot of sitting on hands stuff. I think it's from having an older crowd. And again, I'm not being critical of it. I'm just saying I would agree that Bryant-Denny shouldn't be top 5 on those type lists, but I also agree with what Josh Pate's saying. When you're playing Georgia at night, it may be number 1.
Well, see, look, when the game, Josh Page is absolutely right, of course. When the game is huge, there's no better place. The thing is, the game's not always huge, specifically lately, because we have dominated so much at home. And so it's sort of like, yeah, Alabama's going to win that game. Yeah, that's a tough game because Alabama's got better players. See, we almost get discredited because our players have been better for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, people don't credit the venue. They don't credit the venue. They go, they credit the 5 stars. I think it's the 5 stars.
Ohio State. Like if you go to Ohio State, you don't expect to win. But I've been to Ohio State games. It's not like the most intimidating environment. Now, I bet you if they played, if they switched it up and played Michigan at night, and I bet you that place would be nuts. So, but they play them at 11 o'clock in the morning, so that takes a little bit of the edge off. Now, the reason I throw that one in there is because that's the only Bama game on there. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be really disappointed if Alabama, Florida State isn't like bonkers. But and maybe
I don't know if it will be or not. I mean, it will be they're all bonkers to a degree. We do owe them, and it's a big game. I'm old school, as everyone listening knows. There's probably a term for older than old school, and that would be me. I go back to Gene Stallings, who the biggest game you play is the next one. Nick Saban would say that too. The biggest game you'll ever play is the next one. And Stallings used to say about the games when you're favored to win by 4 touchdowns, he'd say, if you don't think that's a big game, try losing it.
Yeah. Well,
that's how I feel about all the games, really. They're all big. Because if you lose to who we play at home early, is it East Carolina.
East Carolina. They lost everybody though.
Lose to East Carolina and DeBoer.
He doesn't make it
even with the $60 million buyout. You lose to East Carolina and it leads to 5-7 or 4-8.
He doesn't make it to Georgia.
Because how do you lose to East Carolina and rebound? So they're all big. You only play 12 games a year.
First of all, I think there's only 2 kinds of schools: old school and then Minneapolis Leering Center. Those are the only 2 schools available. We're old school. Number 6 is Vaught-Hemingway Stadium, LSU at Ole Miss. And I'm not going to go through the rest of these because that discredits the list, because that's going to be the best environment of the year, bar none. Write it down. Forget it. I'm an Alabama fool, and I'm going to tell you something. I would love tickets to that game. Must watch.
That's a must. It's a must watch. The Ole Miss fans, who, by the way, they'll throw liquor bottles, down on the field when they play Louisiana Tech and they're up 35-7. I mean, what are they going to be like? I mean, that's the wrong fan base to inflame.
Lane Kiffin's going to wish he had mustard thrown at him.
Yeah, that Tennessee environment,
it's not going to be the French's stuff. It's going to be the Grey Poupon in a glass jar.
In the bottle.
Yeah. Now, finally, you're telling me they have number 1 Neyland Stadium, Texas at Tennessee. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm excited to see it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I would really kind of like to be there. That environment ain't going to be better than Vaught-Hemingway. There's nothing better than Vaught-Hemingway. There's too much there. So anyway.
That'll be if you're talking about one game, that's the number 1. It has to be. Now, if you're talking about over the course of a season, you got to count them all. I don't know that Vaught-Hemingway will be up there. By the way, I got an Ole Miss prediction. One of the things I want to talk about soon. I'm a Pete Golding guy. I mean, again, I thought Alabama fans were too harsh on him. He deserves some level of criticism, sure. I thought it was overly harsh, and I think Golding has proved since he left Alabama he is a good defensive coordinator, and he did a great job of salvaging Ole Miss this season. But because he's still a new head coach to me, even with Trinidad Chambliss back, and I expect him to be the quarterback next year at Ole Miss, I'm not going to have Ole Miss in the playoff. Why, Pete? I don't know. He's ready to. It's different. I know what he did was special, but it's different to coach a team from the spring all the way through 12.
Well, that team was self-motivated this year because of all that had went down, and that changed things.
Yep.
All right, now need to tell everybody about game time. Oh man, I think I'm going to use game time this weekend. I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to take my daughter. She's become an NBA fan at 9 years old. I don't know how. And she wants to go to a Hawks game. She's never been to an NBA game. Well, she has. She was too small to remember.
Do the Hawks count?
The Hawks count. Yeah, they've gotten better, man.
I know
they got rid of Trey Young, and so either go to the Hawks game or I have to go do some work in Orlando. And I'm thinking about leaving a little early. The Magic play the Lakers, and I may go take her to that this weekend because it's their spring break. But anyway, the biggest stretch of the college basketball season is almost here. Buzzer beaters, bracket busters, and those unforgettable moments that everyone's talking about. And then the next day, that's when they're talking about them. Being there live or something like that, that's bucket list stuff. I'm telling you, I've used Game Time to go to some great games. You will want to use Game Time. The seat view feature is a game changer. You can see panoramic view from your exact seat. Take the guesswork out of buying college basketball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply because they apply to everything. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Then there's 5 Hour Energy right here. Cotton candy. I got it right here. Oh, I was showing you the UPC code or whatever. How about this? Cotton candy. I got it. I got it for me because I need it. I get up so early in the morning, y'all. I really do. I get up about 4:30 every morning, get ready, drive to Lake City. It's about an hour, and then I'm here all day, and then I got to drive back to Birmingham typically.
What pairs with 5 Hour Energy, would you say?
What pairs with it?
What pairs with, like eggs?
No, I like a. I mean, I'll take it with a biscuit every morning. I'm a Jack's guy.
Okay, biscuit.
Biscuit and a 5 Hour Energy. And my day is started. Welcome to the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Jimmy's favorite Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. Right, yeah. And I've got my number one pick. It's Confetti Craze, but they were out of it because everybody loves it. So, I got Confetti Craze, I got Cotton Candy, which is my second fave, and it's just sweet enough. It's not too sweet, and it just makes it taste so good. Like you don't feel like I got to take this to wake up. No. And you're not jittery. I'm telling you, I used it all during the AHSA playoff. You'll love it. Look, 5 Hour Energy shots give you a boost with zero sugar. 5 Hour Energy has a lot of flavors for you to choose from. We've already talked about them all. Go to 5hourenergy.com. That's the number 5hourenergy.com, or go to Amazon, or go to CVS, or go to Walgreens, or go to Walmart, or go to your convenience store. You can get them wherever you want them. They got them everywhere. That's a Jimmy Stein guarantee. Jimmy's always complaining they're out of Fruity Rainbow again.
Hey, anything that tastes like Skittles, I'm in.
Pro Skittles. All right.
I'm pro Skittles.
We went live yesterday after Aiden Holloway. I would implore you to go check that out, see what we had to say. We had a lot of good drug discussion.
Yeah, it was our best drug show of all time.
It was one of the top 5 marijuana shows we've done. And I'm still very confused, honestly. If it was, it sounds like to me the amount of marijuana he had was too much for one person and too little to really make a hill of beans difference for a guy who's getting good in NIL money. That's what I don't understand. So
got a new theory.
Now, here's the other thing. The devil may be in the details. They said more than a pound. So, that's sort of like the question of getting a bread box.
That could be 100 pounds.
Exactly. But it's here's a pound, and it's more than that.
I would guess 1 pound point something. Here's one thought that I had, new theory, and again, just theory, not inside scoop. Holloway people are like, why would you want to deal with marijuana when you already make? I don't know what Holloway makes at Alabama. I don't think 300,000 is a terrible guess. In terms of rev share plus NIL, maybe 300. I'll be shocked if it's less than 200, but maybe 300. Why would you need to deal dope if you're making that kind of money? And here's one thought I had. He makes a lot more money than your average Alabamian who smokes weed a lot. He makes more money. So doesn't it make sense that he would just buy more because he's probably giving it to his buddies who are coming over for what I would say the parties, but the afternoon, music sessions. He's just buying, just like if you're hanging out with 4 or 5 guys and you're a millionaire and your friends are not, you're probably buying the beer. You're probably buying the liquor, and that's okay, right? Wouldn't you? If you were rich, wouldn't you buy stuff for your friends? And compared to other 21-year-olds, he's pretty wealthy, if not very wealthy, compared to your average 21-year-old. He's probably just the guy that buys the weed for his friends. So how about that theory? That just because he has a lot doesn't mean that he's selling it. Now, is there going to be evidence coming out that he's selling it? I'm not sitting here disputing it if there's evidence. But in the absence of that evidence and what we know now, I just don't want to assume the worst until there's evidence.
All right. So a couple of things. First of all, apparently there are at least birds chirping that this may not be the end for Aiden Holloway, depending on how things play out. I'm here to allow things to play out.
Yeah.
I'm also like, even though I've defended everything, we have pushed the envelope a time or two. I'm sort of like, we probably just need to let this one. I mean, if Aiden comes back next year, if this is not a horrible situation, I'm pro Aiden coming back next year. I'm pro not throwing his life away.
Assuming things go as one would anticipate normally, I'm on board with him coming back next year. I will be anti
coming back this year.
Any games playing the tournament, unless the charges are dropped.
If the charges are dropped, okay.
The police say this was a big misunderstanding and a mistake. Okay, sure, he should play immediately.
Maybe it was oregano.
Maybe.
You remember that episode? Did you ever see The Office where Michael Scott wanted to go plant drugs on Toby, and he went out to like 2 guys in the shipping department, and he didn't know what dope looked like, so they convinced him that their caprese salad was marijuana or something. And like he took it in there and planted it in Toby's office, called the cops. Cops come look in the drawer and they're like, this is a salad. Pretty funny. Anyway,
there's a good law school stuff about oregano and marijuana. It's good law school. I can't remember. I think it's either on the bar exam or bar prep about criminal intent and marijuana and oregano. 2 examples. This will be a good lesson for everybody who wants to know about what is mens rea. What does criminal intent mean? If you went to Walmart and bought oregano, but some prankster had filled the bottle with marijuana and not oregano, but you bought oregano from Walmart and you bought it home, ends up this marijuana, police come in, search, and they go, oh, this is marijuana, you're going to jail. No, you're not. You had no intent to possess marijuana, even though you possess it. There's no intent. Conversely, if you go to a street dealer to buy marijuana and he sells you oregano instead, and the police pull you over and they're like, oh, you're guilty. You're guilty. You intended to possess marijuana whether you did or not. So that's just sort of good examples of why to be convicted of a crime, there must be intent.
My argument, I've seen enough Law and Order to know, my argument would be, sir, I love street oregano. All right. Now, one other thing,
I'm going to have to eat that pizza.
There's nothing better than a felonious pizza with some street oregano on it. Anyway, you know what this reminded me of? You were talking about, okay, so he had this much dope. He probably was like I mean, look, my guess, and this is nothing I know, my guess is there probably was some intent to sell. That's my guess. I'm not accusing anything. That makes sense.
Fair guess. It's fair.
But maybe he was just the party guy. And if he was just the party guy, and I go back to, if somebody go, why? And my guess is his NIL is more than 300,000. That's my guess too.
I was being conservative. But
okay.
I'm sure it's around there or maybe a little more.
So then the question becomes, if you're making that much money, why would you do this? Because Chris Marler, friend of the program and friend of Locked On, had
because he works for Locked On.
Yeah, he does some research, and he said, look, he found out that assuming that you buy it for this much, which would be normal, and sell it for this much would be normal, you make about $1,300 on 1 pound of marijuana or whatever, which isn't a lot juxtaposed to the risk based on what you already make. You know what it reminds? And people go, "Why would you do that then?" I go, "Because humans are stupid. All you have to do, Hugh Grant.
We're stupid.
Every night, Hugh Grant could have sex with Elizabeth Hurley.
Mm-hmm.
He decided he wanted to go find a woman of the night in Divine Brown, who is not Elizabeth Hurley.
Shout out on remembering the name.
And now, by the
You're like
way,
a hooker Wikipedia.
Hookerpedia. Now, Elizabeth Hurley is dating Billy Ray Cyrus, and I want to kill myself.
I think Hugh Grant may have chosen better with Divine Brown than she has chosen.
Yeah, if you'd be like, Hugh, are you jealous? No, I feel bad. She went down to Billy Ray.
It's like he's redeemed.
It's maybe that's how much she loved him. She goes, I don't want people to hate you.
They both hit the streets looking for love.
If you ever want the video equivalent of Rougiette, go watch, was it Bedazzled or Befuzzled or whatever that movie is with her and the guy that got kicked out of
Never
Hollywood,
saw it, but
Brendan
she was
Fraser.
in a movie called Bedazzled. Yeah, she was.
And she was the devil. Holy cow. She's one of the top 5 most gorgeous women I've ever seen now. Linda Carter's up there. Elizabeth Hurley's up there. Your girl, Sarah Jean Underwood's in there. I mean, there's 3 of them right there. My wife.
Of course. Well, that goes without saying. That's all fascinating stuff. What a show again.
We did it again, Jimmy.
We did it again.
Knocked it out of the park. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.